Hello to viewers, welcome to my channel Science to Technology. In today's show, Future Friday, we're gonna talk about water engine, Toyota water engine and flat earthers. So let's dive deep into it. So let's understand this brain damage. And yes, I do mean it and there is a very serious consequence of it. So we have been warned, like when ChatGPT sort of thing became a thing, especially text to image AIs, people did warn that it will create a lot of issues, a lot of trust issue, lot of faith issue, and because of the flow of garbage, basically garbage in and garbage out, and AI will regurgitate it, and we will not know what to trust. And we are here. So what does this mean? This simply means one individual. It could be just another AI also. That's also a risky part. One takes something out of context, meaning whenever you read something, you have to understand it never makes sense on its own. Any line, any quote does not make any sense. Like if I say my financial situation is hand to mouth, and if somebody removed that situation, like, financial, I just said hand to mouth, it does not mean the same thing. It may mean like, oh, did that doggy put his hand in his mouth or something like that? Like, different sort of thing. So we need context. Now, one individual can deliberately, for attention seeking, for money making sake, can remove the context, and then using AI, they can make orgasm images. Orgasm images are very easy to find. Like this is the image of a real engine. These images are of what we call orgasm engines. So orgasm images, whenever AI makes it, like this one, it's generally specifically designed to stimulate you rather than actually be useful. Like for example, in this, you can see this image, everybody is using it. It's like, dude, you have pipes that are going in and out. It's like engine exhaust is going here, and what is running? Like what? It's not even a CAD design. It's just orgasm. And there is one critical aspect that you have to understand. Our brains never run idle. For example, if you're sleeping, you are freaking sleeping. If you're just doom scrolling it, you may think you're not doing anything, but you will be tired because your brain actually spent some time there, some energy there. And that's the worst thing you can do. Consequence of that would be like this sort of thing will slowly start to imprint on you. That's why this sort of AI flooding is working, because we are doom scrolling, and because our brain is like, we are not like, okay, let me sit down, let me Google this, let me try to understand it. That's a different thing. You will be like, okay, in 2 hours, I will get into it, I will understand it, and then I'll walk out. That's very productive, healthy, and you will know. But if you're like, just doom scrolling, the random thing happens in your feed and then you just go through it, you may think you are learning, but you're not, because you're not paying attention fully. But you're also not, like, it's just not bouncing out. That's why I said we do not have idle state. Either you are sleeping or you are actually doing something. So this sort of things will start to flood you, and over time this will actually absorb inside you. So AI will make that orgasm image because it's catchy, it's tricky, it's not real, but your brain is not working at 100%. It's not zero, it's also 50%. So instead of this will pass, and then the worst thing will happen. They will take AI, take text to speech, and then they'll use a lot of stock footage. All of them have this thing where they have used a lot of stock footage. I mean, like, holy damn. They went stock with more stock footage. They went YOLO on the stock footage. Only some of them are like where somebody's actually talking, and even in that video, it's like stock with some more stock footage, with some even more stock footage, and then just there is a video. Now, the worst thing happens after this, the brain damage. People see it and regurgitate it forever. One individual, somewhere 5 to 6 months ago, created this brain damage of basically water engine, and somebody I really feel for this guy as a YouTuber. Is like he must be the original one, if I'm not mistaken, which he actually created this blue engine design. And he is a small channel, it's like 1.7K subscriber, and this a new engine technology could destroy EV industry. You must have heard this sort of line, this Toyota CEO went public with all the new water engine that will destroy entire EV industry. World's first water car engine, pani, that's in Hindi. This water engine will destroy the entire car industry. There must be some Elon Musk also. Oh yeah, Elon Musk went public with all new water engine that will change it. But here's the deal: if you're doom scrolling it, all of this will get inside your head, and you will have that damage. And because you watched it, you spread it around. You are regurgitating. All of them combined have millions of hour of watch time. Watch time I'm talking about, like bonkers amount of watch time. So there is a danger for it. Like, this is a real engine. What are these engines? And unfortunately, there are Indians there. Like, I was always like, India, we good with math. I mean, like, come on, man, we are Asians, man. Like, we have to be like good with science and math by default. Heck, we are running the CEOs of so many companies. Like, we have some reputation to pull off. It's just like, so That's the whole problem with it. It's like we were warned with that. Like, how many people will actually notice, hey, wait a minute, the pipes are not working how it's supposed to be. This is a basically hydrogen gas internal combustion engine, not a water engine. Like, somebody gave this engine here and then like engine like modify it, and it's like freaking turbine in front of it. I'm like, why there is turbine where you're supposed to be having a cooling fan? That's the whole point. Everybody is just like blue color. It's like, why blue color? Because they put that in the prompt. It's like, hydrogen and computer associated hydrogen with blue color. Even though liquid oxygen is blue, hydrogen is colorless. So that's the whole point. Once people see it, especially in doom scrolling stage, they regurgitate it, and this becomes the new reality where every Tom, Dick and Harry is saying Toyota said that, which they never did. So what actually happened? Now, let this be very clear. This is regurgitation of a regurgitation. So going to the source is practically impossible. I do not know. I cannot narrow down this was the individual. The best I can see, I can look at when this video flooding started, and that I can best say like 6-7 months ago. So the best essence that I can extract, this is my best analysis, is this happened. This is Toyota's liquid hydrogen racer gas. Sorry, I wrote liquid 2 times. So what Toyota was doing, Toyota had a very simple philosophy. It's like, when you are talking about races, and racing is a very expensive thing. It can only happen if there is a large enough prize money, so the people who are actually doing it actually has something to fight for, and there has spectators. Spectators can only be there if it's high energy, high octane, high oomph. So how do you get that oomph? You need noise. So combustion engine is perfect for that, but combustion engine is polluting. So what if we compromise there and we put liquid hydrogen there? They did try last year before this. They did try with compressed hydrogen. It does work, but it required a lot of refueling. Anybody who knows about anything known as chemistry will tell you flat out hydrogen does not have energy density. It has energy in terms of mass wise. Like if I say 1 kilogram of diesel versus 1 kilogram of hydrogen, yes, hydrogen has more power. But since I assume people know difference between kilograms and liter, if I give you 1 liter tank, how much energy you can put into it, hydrogen answer is 0 and diesel is almost 35 megajoule. And hydrogen, you have to compress the hell out of it, then you will get like, let's say 4 or 5 megajoule. That's at 700 bar pressure. And if you liquefy it, best case scenario is 6 to 7 megajoules. That's why even rocket companies are switching from liquid hydrogen to methane. Unless there is carbon holding it all together tightly, it does not have enough density to be useful. They know this. They tried with compressed hydrogen. It was good and all, everything and all, but then they're like, yeah, we gotta go liquid hydrogen. It has some probability. And then they also had to refuel way too many times. So anybody who understands that simple chemistry part, they know. I have linked amazing video down below from actual engineer going to the numbers and doing the math. But what happened, this is Fuji 24-hour race. Yes, this is a 24-hour race. Drivers keep swapping out, but the engines remain the same. Like, and you can repair the engines, and depending on the rules and regulation, you can repair the engines if something breaks or something like that. So you have drivers cycling through and engines going through, and it's a very good show of your engineering technology, where it's like, hey, can your engine, vehicle can survive 24 hours of brutal reality? If that does, that's like JJ. So there is a very good reason for that. And Toyota is very clear about that. Like, we want our engineers to be the best of the best. And is this a hard challenge? It is god tier challenge. This is like awesome. You're telling me that somehow in a very brutal environment, you're putting absolute zero liquid, which is liquid hydrogen, and you're driving around all under. Damn. Respect. From an engineering point of view, hats off. That's like, damn. So this is Fuji 24-hour Corolla H2 concept car. So H2 concept car, liquid hydrogen. Somewhere liquid became water, and somewhere the concept became conceptual. So you will hear these two words used, water and conceptual. It's in conceptual as well. I do not think that was the intent. The intent was they supposed to say concept car, but because one body regurgitated it, it just became hulululu. Now here's Dave. Was it a very successful option? Not really, because they have this issue where there is no pump they can design that works actually long enough. They had to replace pumps 3 times. So pump was the weak link in this scenario. But again, from engineering point of view, damn, like if you can say like, hey, we can work with liquid hydrogen and it has this sort of a problem requirement and we can solve it, that's from engineering point of view, shut or take money. Does hydrogen has any useful place where you can be like, no, hydrogen is the best option? Absolutely. It's called submarine. Submarine, either you go nuclear or go hydrogen. Why? Hydrogen can be stored in what we call metal halides. Benefit of that is it can exceed that 8 megajoule that I have specified. Why? Because it can exceed in kilogram from a liquid state. Basically, if I give you 1 liter liquid hydrogen, versus metal halide. Metal halide has more hydrogen, more kilogram of hydrogen is there. So then why don't we use it? Did you not hear the part? It's metal halide. Your tank is metal powder. It's very heavy. What does submarine needs? Ballast. What if your ballast is not just ballast, few energy storage? Shut up, take money. So that's why a lot of engineering companies are pouring a lot of money into hydrogen technology for submarines. It's shut up, take money. It's that good for that. And forklift also, apparently, because it requires a giant amount of weight as a counterbalance. Instead of having counterbalance, why not have fuel storage? So there are some cases where metal halide hydrogen storage makes sense, not in car, because again, if they had replaced that, the tank itself would become so heavy because it would be like literally a cylinder that is filled with metal, like full metal block. It will crush the car. So this swapping happened, and what Toyota is doing, like what they will say this, Toyota says that EV is gonna enter, right? Every thumbnail you saw, EV is his deal. Toyota released, that's why I'm saying this happened like 6-7 months ago. Toyota unveiled a new technology that will change the future of cars, right? This is from a company's PR department. That's why I'm saying the full name. Please type this full name if you want to Google it. Toyota unveils new technology that will change the future of cars. This was released on 13 June 2023. Okay, cool, awesome. Now, why Toyota and Honda, if I'm not mistaken, to some extent, are sticking to basically hydrogen? Two reasons. There is more than enough stupid people, and second, sunk cost fallacy. If there is enough dumb people who can be convinced about hydrogen technology, because they can say you stupid things like, hey, trucks, if trucks became electric, we will not be able to power it because our grid cannot take it. Yeah, you can sell that. It's just that then anyone who knows mathematics will come to you and be like, valid point, absolutely mathematically true. Just tell me how the heck, if let's say X amount of energy is needed for making the truck fleet into electric, X plus 30%. If you cannot provide X, how the heck you're gonna provide X plus 30 that is needed to make that hydrogen? If you don't have the energy, how the heck you're gonna provide that energy, more energy? Oh, did I mention you also need basically pure water, distilled water, in order to make that much hydrogen? Unless you are just using methane with steam reforming, then it's like just fossil fuel with extra steps. So you see, that's the whole point. If enough people are stupid, and companies do bet on many technologies, most of them fail, but sometimes company get into that awkward phase where they do not cut their losses early enough, and they are like, too much money is poured into it. They get stuck, which we call sunk cost fallacy. If you want like how big people can fall into it, have you heard of ESA, European Space Agency? Yeah, they're stuck with Ariane 6. The rocket has not even been launched yet. It's not ready yet. It's already outdated. And ESA hates it. This is from ESA's director. We have to swallow it. That's how I'm like, damn. That's how bad it is. They know it's useless rocket, but they have to. That happens. Sunk cost fallacy is brutal. So in that Toyota's document, you will see hydrogen tank standardization, this and that. Okay, cool. Enough stupid people are in government, then this sort of things work. If somebody can trick you into like, oh, we need hydrogen because energy is like magic and we can just magically make more energy than EV. And somehow we can even get the fresh water and somehow we can make all of that thing. And just like, okay. But here's the deal. In that Toyota's documentation, they were talking about this thing. And you're like, hey, this looks like battery technology. Yeah. They call it, for technical reason, you have to call battery EV as BEV, battery electric vehicle. The reason for that is, if you say hydrogen fuel cell vehicle, it's actually electric vehicle. So what you have is hydrogen tank, hydrogen storage, then you have fuel cell goes to battery goes to inverter drives the motor. They're like, wait a minute, why the heck there is battery there? Yeah, there is a problem. Our combustion engine is magic, is that it's very responsive. You press the accelerator, engine goes wing wing. So doing that wing wing, that took 1 century of research and development. Fuel cell never actually had to do that part. It was always designed for oomph load, where it's like, okay, you need this much power, we're gonna give you this much power, done. It does not have the responsiveness that you need in a traffic. So somebody came up with a logical idea. Hey, what if we put a battery? And it also has secondary benefits like regenerative braking. That's awesome. GG. So it's a good thing. And that's why hydrogen cars are idiotically more expensive than electric car, because it's full electric car plus the hydrogen fuel cells and hydrogen storage. The only thing you have to do for converting that hydrogen car into electric car, throw away the hydrogen thing, just scale up the battery. And here's the battery voltage, most of the time I've seen is the same. They are all of them are generally using 400 volt electrics. Is the only difference is one could have, like, let's say, battery capacity of, let's say, 5 kilowatt hour, and electric car would have, let's say, 30 kilowatt hour. That's the only change. So Toyota is literally working their ass off on battery technology, and they're going deep. Like, they are literally going, okay, most batteries are made in, like, monopolar topology on chemistry level. They are going deep, and they're like, we're gonna use bipolar technology, and this is the penalty, this is the very good documentation. And you can see, like, they're talking about, like, hey, we're gonna make cars in 3 front, the core chassis, so front end, rear end, and the center end, and then based on our requirements. So sedan requires a bit more longer, okay, the battery part would be swapped. If, like, SUV may require a bit more oomph, you can have even double stack of batteries. And this was very good documentation. Again, this is not for us, it was meant for investors and, like, engineers kind of thing. And again, they are talking about, like, all solid state battery prototype. This is from their document, I'm not saying it. They are working their ass off on it. Where the heck this idea came from is like, oh, Toyota is like rejecting the EVs. Like, they are working their ass off, because more than enough investors, more than enough people in the board of directors, they know, like, they bet a lot on hydrogen. Enough people are stupid enough for hydrogen, for, like, government to pass degree and all that. Okay, that's good, but here's the EVs are selling more than hydrogen system. So as a company, you need a good electric offering. And be mindful, all the technology that you develop for EV is same technology you need for fuel cell. So they are talking about e-axle. They are making the e-axle smaller, so it can make the car smaller, less drag. That's true for electric or hydrogen. So they have to develop these things. And this one, I really like the idea. Like, instead of having one chassis, like how Ford, if I'm not mistaken, has the skateboard and then they're swapping the chassis. They are like, hey, what if the skateboard is in 3 parts, front and rear, and then we can scale it based on requirement. So everybody knows this for a fact, that every company who is stuck in hydrogen, either they are relying on too many stupid people or sunken cost fallacy, or both. So what everybody starting to say, which that's how I know that this was AI regurgitated. Somebody said, the battery is there already in the fuel cell car. We're going to take energy and put it into fuel cell. Again, they call it electrolyzer. And we're going to get hydrogen. We're going to put hydrogen into ICE engines, as in internal combustion engine, same boom engine. And then we're going to drive the wheels. I'm like, what the? How? If you have battery, that means you have energy. That means, let's say, call it, that energy is 10 units of energy. You have 10 units of electrical energy. Use that energy to drive the motor. You will always travel farther than going through this long chain. And this is how I know this is made by AI. They said high voltage electrodes are used to split the water. I'm like, you do not know about electrolysis. Electrolysis requires high amps and very low voltage, not even 10 volts. Like, generally you will do very low voltage. You do not want to cause electrical arc. You do not want to boil the water. You need to split the water. Voltage needs to be low. Not too low, but generally lower than 10 volts. High voltage? No, sir. No. No good, sir. That's how I know it's an AI regurgitated thing. It's like, you need high amps. Look into any electrolyzer, man. People talk about this. People talk about, like, how much DC amp they need. They're always low voltage. It's like, high voltage electrolytes. I'm like, did you just copy pasted something from arc welding or something like that? So that's the Toyota part. So Toyota is working on this from an engineering point. That's awesome. Liquid hydrogen, it did not went boom. I'm like, time, sir, it's a respect. And it did not boil off completely. So, and yeah, pump is the weak link in this scenario. I have linked the engineer's video down below. It's awesome. So all these things, that's what happened. So somebody contorted it, blah, blah, blah happened, and then people are regurgitating it. Like, how many times you have seen EVs, like, this company is ditching EV. There is not a single car manufacturer that is seriously ignoring EV. Not even one. So why can't we do this water fuel part? Well, here's the deal. I'm assuming you actually went into school and you were not sleeping. I was sleeping, most of them. But so water part, you have to understand, water is a stuff, right? So what is this stuff's inherent nature? It's in low energy state. Meaning, when you're talking about oil, it's in high energy state. It can be burnt. That's why oil well fires are hard as hell to put out. So when you're talking about water, why it does not burn? It's already in low energy. It's basically oxygen. What is it? Volatile, angry, horny. What is hydrogen? Angry, volatile, horny. And bam, they make love. It gives a lot of energy. What happens after that? It gave off the energy. You burnt the goddamn hydrogen. What is the outcome? H2O. It's now chill. They're like, bro, we lived our life. Everything was fine. Everything was done. We're done, bro. We're done. You can't, quote unquote, burn it or oxidize it again. You just cannot. Like, and here's the, many times people can trick you, especially if you're not paying attention to it, is that other things can react to it, and you can just say, it's a water car. Like, can you build a car that quote unquote trick enough people to believe into water car? Yeah. This is Doordarshan News, Indian news channel. I hate it. And like, here's the, I'm not joking. Car runs on water, not petrol or diesel. Here's the, this is not a basically water car. All it is a acetylene gas car. That's what should be its technical name. It's taking calcium carbide, reacting it to water and getting acetylene gas, which is a flammable thing. Under no circumstances water word should be used. This is an acetylene car. Acetylene is the fuel. How you get the fuel, that does not matter. You can literally have a, let's say, crude oil, and you have a boiler that converts crude oil into, let's say, bunker oil, and then you use it. You will not say you are running on crude oil. You'll say you are running on bunker oil. So you have to understand this sort of reaction where you can put something in the water that gives you something useful. Same thing can be done with metals, certain metals. That's how other people have tricked it. Like, they put pure metal in the tank, so amount was very small, and what you will see is like car was lightweight. You put the water, people say, oh, weight went up, and then it's like, you know, engine started running. It was like, yeah, it was consuming metal that you have to replenish. And it is not a water car, it's a metal consuming car. Sodium, or whatever other metals, like chemist, please write it down. So you can do that. At that point in time, water is just a medium. Same way, if I say your car requires air to run, you will be like, duh, right? Car has air intake. All in ICE engines, be it hydrogen, be it petrol, be it diesel, be it CNG, be it LNG, all of them require air. So if I block the air intake, engine stops. Does that mean your car is air powered? You will say, hell no. That's the same point. So whenever people want to be malicious about things, they want to cause brain damage, they will take water, react it with something, hide that what they have reacted with, and then they're like, okay, the car runs on water. And here's the deal, you have to understand, people do not consume full information. Like, even in this scenario, yes, the interviewer, they were very honest about it. Like, yeah, it runs on acetylene. But here's the deal, I have seen this sort of articles. Articles have, like, you know, Maruti 800, it's a car model. Maruti 800 runs on water and basically calcium carbide. Here's the deal, that title is very long by design. So whenever you search it, you only see Maruti 800 runs on water. So you click it, clickbaiting it. But again, imagine doing this for decades, century, almost century, people have been falling for this. And yes, it has caused that much brain damage. People will never, ever accept it. Like, water is low energy state, you cannot do anything to it. Like, it's the same thing. Like, you have lead acid battery, experienced lead acid battery, it has water. Like, we have to put a distilled water, especially on big lead acid battery. Does that mean it's running on distilled water? Most of you will be smart enough to say no, it's just a reactant there. So people, when they are talking about this sort of thing, like, you know, we have battery and they call it HHO gas. So you have electrolysis. Electrolysis gives you the you know, gas, and then you burn it. Here's the first, use the battery directly. That would be far more efficient. Second, if you actually did this on the same scale, generally this guy is trying to run a very small engine on an even smaller battery. That's why it's not going boom. But if you did that, there is a problem here. You have HHO, meaning you have stoichiometric ratio of hydrogen and oxygen. You have nothing else. Meaning, if it goes into engine, like in a sealed environment, it goes in the engine and it goes boom, yeah, the temperature will reach 3000 degrees Celsius. Like, wait a minute, what? Yeah, that's rocket engine you're talking about. The reason our car engine does not melt is that our atmosphere has nitrogen. So whenever your turbocharger or compressor is like, whoosh, you're pushing the air, there's nitrogen there to chill it out. It's like, bruh, relax. So all the fuel, all the oxygen reacts, but there is enough mass of air, aka nitrogen, to like, bro, chill. And here's the deal, if you want to imagine what will happen if you have, let's say, kerosene or diesel, this sort of thing, and you have pure oxygen, it's called rocket engines. And it is so hot that you have to run a propellant, cryogenic propellant around it to keep it like, bro, chill. So anybody who's saying we could, and that's what they were saying, they were doing on Toyota. It's like, you know, they have the battery and they're going to electrolyze it, HHO gas is going to run. Hope that they are mixing it with something. Because if HHO gas directly went into the engine and directly went boom, yeah, it's not going to go boom, it's going to go kaboom. Yes, perfect stoichiometric ratio. It's very powerful. So the reason why the people who are doing this sort of extent does not go boom is the batteries are smaller. So if they had enough oomph, that it can create enough oomph in HHO gas, and then they sent it into the combustion chamber, yeah, then we're gonna have the boom boom party. Or again, it could be like, it could work for like 3 or 4 before it overheats and damages itself. So, but do not try to do it. You do not want psychometric boom. Heck, even in rocket engine itself, we always overflow one or other. So let's say in pre-burners, we basically was creating the pre-gas, needing to spin up the turbo pumps. there is overflow of kerosene, and in case of the main combustion chamber, you still would let's say overflow fuel or overflow oxygen. You never want absolute psychometric system. Absolute psychometric system, it's gonna go ba-boom. So that's why you cannot have water in. But here's the deal, I really love when I was doing the research, it's like pseudoscience buster can keep talking about this, but it will never die, and that's why it will never die. It's like you have to actually understand science to just not fall for it. Now, what it has to do with flat earthers. Now, imagine this. This is the year 2024. And what if I tell you that people believe in flat earther? The first thing would be no. No. Again, if you come from any sort of place, you'll be like, no. What if I told you, actually, there is a lot of people and they are rising in number? And here's the deal. Hold on to your hats. That includes very well-educated people that are in many professions. That includes, but not limited to, doctors. Now you see the horrifying part of it? Yeah. And here's the deal. Why don't anybody like debate them and disprove them? This is the insidious aspect of it. The more you try to disprove it, the more they take it as evidence. Meaning, if I'm like, bro, that's not how it is, this is how it is, they will think, at best case scenario, that you are an innocent child who has been duped by the cabal. That cabal could be anything, the Illuminati, the demon, or blah, 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 put whatever you want to put in there. So that's how they will take that. Or worse, they're like, you are the evil one and you are trying to take me away from whatever have you. There is X villain and Y the solution. So they are happening. And why the heck it's so enticing? Like, this part is a lot of researchers are pouring a lot of money into this, because we have to understand this. If this keeps growing at the rate it is growing, at this rate of AI BS we are dealing with, it could have catastrophic consequences. So more than enough people are paying attention. So what the essence of that research is that in their mind, these sort of people feel they are freedom fighter of truth. Like they really have a cause, and cause is very powerful. Ask anyone who literally supported communism and then saw the world burn because of it, and they're like, oh, causes are damn. Causes are wait. I'm not joking. I have actually a communist who wrote in my comment that Soviet Union was not communism. That's the whole point. In their mind, they are freedom fighters, so they will fight to the death until you believe them. There is no other solution, because in their mind they are freedom fighters. Their science does not matter. They already made up the conclusion, so to say. So they will fight, and that is the primary reason no conspiracy ever dies. Like, it will never die. Like, whole humanity could die, but the last individual will still hold that freaking conspiracy theory. You have to understand, be it moon landing was faked, be it earth is round, be it young earth being 6,000 years old because of religious belief or whatever have you. So, and the most cruel aspect that all the researchers are agreeing to is that once it's infected, it never ends. Meaning, once people even Neil deGrasse Tyson also talked about this. It's like, he had one individual was like flat earther, like they had a good relationship. So they were like, I need to learn it from you. It's like, earth is round or flat. It's like, okay, earth is round. Then Neil deGrasse Tyson, from a scientific point, it was like, what evidence sort of thing will you need? It's like, I would like to see a photo. Then again, he took a photo and it's like, okay, this photo is taken in this date, this is it. You can see the environment and you saw it in the news and all that. Like, yeah, but it's like from NASA. That's the whole point. No amount of evidence will ever convince them. It never ends. So this is happening in 2024, man. Yeah, almost every country. So that's the most horrifying part of it. So people will, till the end of time, people will be, water car, my man. Water car, because doing the actual mathematics is so goddamn hard, and because of the BS and because of the AI amplification and regurgitation, there is serious consequences. And this is now happening in science. Like, flat earther people were thinking like, they're harmless. Then they realized, okay, these people are generally in cabal of almost everything else, which also includes anti-vaxxers. You get the point. Like, things are getting out of hand, and at least I'm happy that some people have realized that this sort of thing has to be analyzed. We have to figure out a cure for it, because if this never ends, it will ever expand, and the more miserable you get in your life because of inflation, because of this or that, or family court, the more likely you are to fall into this thing, and then God help you. So we have to understand this, because this literally could spiral out of hand and we could fall back to Stone Age. So what about the penalty here? Now this is where it gets brutal for humanity. And again, it's not like I'm better than you or you are better than me. It's nothing like that. It's human. It's politics and finance. Basically, the money and the decision making, it always affected by and controlled by human sentiments, emotions. We are not logical creatures. We are not Vulcans. We are emotional creatures. So there's the real risk. Meaning, imagine what will happen if somebody emotionally made a decision, even though scientists were telling their, putting everything on the table. And here's the deal: you have to understand, scientists are not magic people. They are not made out of hululu. They are still human. Meaning, they have bills to pay. Meaning, if they are in debt, and if somebody company comes to them, it's like, hey, commit that lead is not an issue in the atmosphere. They'll be like, okay. If they are in desperate enough situation, which most of them unfortunately are, they'll be like, do it. We call them merchant of doubt. So they can do that. That's the whole point. Like, people genuinely did not, like, I was genuinely disappointed when Linus Tech Test was like, oh, the engineers working in Hyperloop don't know science. I'm like, dude, people working in space shuttle knew that space shuttle was the worst design viable. Their actual internal estimate was it will go boom 100 to 1, meaning 100 successful and one boom mission will happen. It flew less than 200 times and it went boom 2 times. They knew it because they knew they were designing it. They were like, dude, this is a mess. But again, Congress wanted it. They're like, okay, you pay our bill, we'll build it. It's like same people. Like, do you think the engineers working in the Hyperloop project, the physical project, did not knew that it's not going to work? They knew better than me. They knew better than all the 10 YouTubers who talked about this 10 years ago, or I talked about it 6 years ago. Like, hundreds of people who talked about it. They knew it. They were like, dude, you pay me, I build this. So we have to be vigilant about it. If you do not, you will fall for politics and basically financial scam. So there is a very serious risk for it. Scientists could keep talking about it, and that's the another way how you can figure out which is the truth one. Scientists will give you numbers. It's like, hey, you can, like how I am telling you, like every real scientist will tell you, hey, hydrogen, yeah, kilogram, man, it's awesome. It's just that how the heck you're gonna carry it? How many kilogram of basically how many kilogram to per liter? Then like, oh yeah, that's not how it works. Then you're like, okay, how many liters you need for in order to have 1 kilogram of it? And then numbers, mathematics, and science is the only thing that is immune to what we call authority. That's why we teach you mathematics. But if politics and finance is the ruler of this world, we are vulnerable to emotional manipulation, which again AI is turbocharging. So if enough people believe in some stupid thing, the idea will be used, penalty be damned. So no matter the cost to the future, and many times penalty or poison, like Hyperloop burnt billions of dollars. It's not hulululu money. It's serious investor money, serious public fund, like serious loss was done. Like, not only you wasted time, basically all the engineers who were working now they're in an awkward position where they're like, hey, you worked in what project? Why you have a HL project? No, sir, don't worry. It's like a small Hyperloop. You worked in Hyperloop. It's like, again, it becomes awkward on their resume. And again, God help them if they had a video talking about like, this technology will change the world. It's like, sir, can you tell me why you could not calculate the vacuuming is expensive? So same point. Like, mathematics can tell you before bad things happen, but emotions, politics can let things out of hand. For example, the biggest example I can give you, Three Gorges Dam. Now, here's the deal. When Three Gorges Dam was built, the idea was put into public. Environmentalists, people, hydrologists, basically people whose job it is to understand what will happen if you dam a river. Again, you need that sort of people in order to properly build a structure dealing with water, be it bridge, be it dam, whatever have you. Every one of them warned that this will be lethal to China. This will destroy China. Now be mindful, many times poison is to the future, not right now, meaning the politician who dreamed it up died. The people who started to build, many of them died. But it was built. Now like, oh, China is still there? No. Everybody told them, like, if you build this sort of reservoir, not only it will cause brutal earthquakes, not only it will cause brutal landslides, the ecological disaster will not even talk about that. Oh, fun fact, it will also cause brutal flooding and god-tier drought. Brutal flooding, god-tier drought, all in the same year, and every year the frequency is getting more brutal, meaning not only the droughts are getting, like, China was so proud of it that Yangtze River never dried out. Like, again, they have unbroken history because again they were never truly invaded for long enough. So they are very proud of this part, that they were never invaded. Okay, awesome. They have like a written history for very long ago. Awesome, GG. And never ever Yangtze River dried out. They built this puppy, which everybody want, because here's the deal. Dams cause both of this, like brutal flooding and brutal drought. And you can study it. Like people will tell you the documentation that is created for the government, where it's like, hey, you build this dam, this will have this much excess evaporation. They will tell you it's like, hey, 10% will be excess evaporation. And if you have to understand the compounding of it, you'll be like, yeah, in 60, 70 years, this river will go away. Or like in case of China, when they got too much orgasm of cheap electricity, they're like, what if we build every 100 kilometer? Everyone's like, dude, 300 kilometer, please give river time. And they're like, no, what if we build it? It's like, yeah, you're gonna forget that you have a river, and every rainy season you're gonna have a flood that will be like, what was the point of this? And this is happening now. It took 30 years, but again, people did warn it, wrote it down, and dictatorship government is like, what if I poof your head? That happened. So that's why I'm hoping this article is a lie. If India can set up a demonstration unit for the Hyperloop technology, ultra high speed travel in next 4 to 5 years, then it would be good achievement for the country. I do not want to look into it. I hope it's a lie. Every engineer knows this, but again, politicians. And again, this dude is in DRDO, that's like our DARPA. The amount of money that will be burnt into this, and he will not suffer the penalty. He's like, who cares? So there is a very serious priority of it. If we do not understand this sort of misinformation, like the sole reason billions of dollars could be burned for NFT, Hyperloop, or water as fuel is simply because people have emotions. Those emotions are being manipulated, and we are not creating antidotes to that. Like, I love the fact that researchers are studying how the heck people fall into this sort of stuff. I really hate the fact that nobody has come up with okay, this is what we do. So there's serious penalty. Yeah, it is very hard for people to digest that, oh, wait a minute, building a dam will only give me worst flood and only give me biggest drought. Yeah, because it happens in few years later. So for example, you study in a school book and people orgasm to you, it's like, hey, we're gonna build dam, we're gonna have energy, and we're gonna have this, you're gonna support it, and then your children would be like, Dad, why did you brought me into this world where we cannot have water? Happens, it takes time. So we will not notice, and the leaders would be dead, but our children would be suffering. So, penalty. So this was my presentation on basically the Toyota water engine and flat earthers. Hopefully you have liked it, learned from it. In that case, please hit the like button, share it amongst your friends. That will help me a lot. If you didn't like it, didn't enjoy it, I urge you to press dislike, press it twice to show me extra disappointment. Please leave a comment because I do try to reply to all of them. Subscribe, press the bell icon if you're free, and as always, thanks for watching.